Excellent. Well, good afternoon, everyone. We are calling just to order at 4:01 p.m. So let's do our round and roll check. Elizabeth, I see you here. Can you see your interpreters?
I can.
Excellent, excellent. Nicole?
I'm in.
Okay, great. Jackie?
Here.
Excellent. Rochelle, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Asia? Okay. Councillor Russell?
Good afternoon, I'm here.
Excellent. And Councillor Gammon?
Good afternoon. Hello, everyone.
Now, I don't believe we've heard from Leslie or Samantha. Is that true?
Leslie's here.
What?
I am here.
Okay, great. Sorry. So many swears. Okay, so we are through with that. Approval of the minutes. They've been circulated. And I need a motion to approve, please.
I will move that, Councillor Russell.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Russell.
I'll second it.
Excellent. Was that you, Jackie? I had my screen up. Okay. So we heard mover and seconder. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, great. Motion passed. Okay, approval of the order of business. I believe we've all seen that. Are there any additions or things we want removed from that? Okay, I need a motion to approve that.
So moved. Councillor Daigle Gammon.
Excellent. And seconder, please.
This
I'll
is
s-
Rochelle Manette. I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Any contrary? Hearing none, motion passed. This one's- Okay. Business arising, there is none. Do we have any conflicts of interest? None. We have any deferred business? Any? I see none, but is that confirmed?
Yes, thank you, Chair. There is no deferred business from previous meetings for today's meeting.
Okay, correspondence? I don't believe.
Thank you, Chair. No, there is no correspondence for today's meeting, nor indication of any petitions from the clerk's office.
Excellent. Okay. So we can go right down to 9.1.1, annual town hall update. So Annie, do we have Melissa here as well?
Yes, Melissa is also here, Chair.
It's not showing on my screen, so that's why I'm wondering.
Oh, Melissa was here.
Yes, she was.
Maybe Melissa might be having some tech issues here, but I'm happy to kind of at least lead the conversation. And Melissa and I have been in contact quite often as of late. There's some sort of event coming up soon, I think. So we've been working quite closely together on that. So maybe I would just ask our legislative support, Micah, potentially, Mike, if you wouldn't mind reaching out to Melissa by email, that would be wonderful. But I can kind of start chatting about this with folks. So things are, kind of a broad overview. Things are really shaping up for the town hall. We have solidified a lot of the pieces that we need to kind of, make sure that the event is actually going to run. We have the space, we have the tech support, we have, folks who are being invited from business units. Things are really progressing in a great way and on a good timeline for us here. So there was a memo that was circulated with your agenda package on Friday morning, and that has some updates on some of the things that Melissa and I have been working on, as well as some other staff within the HRM. But I'll give just a couple of highlights here from the memo. So the live streaming vendor has been secured, and we were able to start working with them as of late last week. So we will be working with Atlantic live streaming services, and both the library and the municipality have worked with this company in the past. And I was actually able earlier today to have a first kind of initial meeting with them to understand kind of what is going to be required on the IT front in terms of access to, the HRM YouTube and all of that good stuff. So looks like we're going to have all of the support we need from the tech side of things. So that's really exciting and good to know that, we have like a company dedicated to making the whole show run effectively on the virtual side of things. So that's super exciting. So definitely a lot, some work to come with the company and integrating some conversations with corporate communications and information and technology services here with the municipality, but things are going well. So emails to business units, they were sent on October 7th. And when I wrote the memo last week, we had multiple representatives who had confirmed their attendance. So we had folks from the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, from Corporate and Customer Services, and Transportation and Public Works. And we also had, as of the deadline, we also had a couple of folks confirm their attendance from Halifax Transit as well. So we have quite a good group of folks who are going to be attending and providing updates on the work that their business unit has been doing regarding accessibility over the past 2 years. And they will also be present to answer questions from the floor. So Chair, I just see the Vice Chair's hand up and just want to make sure that things are okay. Okay, good. Is it a question or? Okay, maybe we can just finish going through this agenda item and then we can, okay, wonderful.
Right.
Thank you so much. Sorry. Great. Great. So so we have some good representation here, and basically we have provided, some flexibility for business units that if they need to change the specific representative that is going to be attending on their behalf, that is okay. We just really wanted to know who was going, or like which business units were going to be present and we're going to commit to being there, so that information can be posted publicly. So I also just included some information from the business unit invitation around kind of, the breakdown of the event. So, the pieces that we had discussed within the committee around around each of the business units being able to provide a 5 to 10 minute presentation that to provide some context on the work that they have been doing. And then the other, really half of the event would be facilitating questions both from the floor and virtually, and have got some clarification on how that process is going to work from the virtual side of things today with the live streaming vendor. Melissa and I also had the opportunity to have another chat with folks at the library and with corporate communications to think about how we would be able to facilitate questions from the floor of the actual event as well, and ensure that folks feel comfortable and have options to be able to get their voices heard at the meeting. And yeah, so we also have been chatting with the chair and vice chair around, the role that the committee can take for the event, and some of the different responsibilities that folks could take on if they so choose. And our wonderful chair has agreed to chair the town hall. So Andrew will provide a bit of an update as to what the committee is working on, how this event has come to fruition, and then to kind of act as the moderator for the event. And our wonderful vice chair has also said that she would be willing to act as backup. And I think we were having a conversation earlier today that having a plan for a plan is always a good thing, particularly when it's going to be a live event. So things are really shaping up there. On the communications front, we've received the final communications plan from corporate communications on October 12th, and we're getting more support there in terms of digital and print materials, like timelines that are going to be used for posting information about the event. And the website has also been, or a web page has also been created on the HRM website. So that website right now, or that web page is, kind of more like a holding page right now, but that page will definitely become more populated over the course of this week, really over the next, I would say, maybe 48 hours in particular, to provide some information to folks around booking Accessibus, what, kind of breakdown of the event is going to be, which business units will be present. And then, and then once we have a registration link from Atlantic Live Streaming Services, we will also have that added to the page so that folks will be able to register for the virtual side of the event on the front end. Within that conversation with corporate communications and the library as well, that conversation happened after the agenda distribution, but we got some clarification around, mitigating the proof of vaccination for attending the event in person. And kind of, the differentiation between one can go to a library and, use, a computer or some of the library's technology without requiring a proof of vaccination. But in terms of attending an event, folks are going to be required to show proof of vaccination to attend the in-person event at Paula Regan Hall, as well as attending the viewing kind of locations at the Tantallon and Muscatawbut Harbor libraries. So we are working with corporate communications in the library to make sure that all of our messaging is aligned there, and that will also be shared on the website. And then maybe if Melissa is present, maybe I can turn it over to Melissa to just provide some updates on how the conversations have gone around ASL interpretation and on cited guides. Okay, Melissa is actually having some technical issues and is unable to speak during the meeting. So I'll just give a bit of an update here. So Melissa has Melissa, we can hear you now, I think.
Hello, technology.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Great. So sorry, some technical issues happened on my end. So as Amy was saying, just a couple things with the town hall. So in terms of transit, I have been talking with Dave in transit around Accessibus. So if anybody needs to use Accessibus to attend the town hall, that's no problem. They're all aware that it's taking place on November 10th. the same process applies of trying to book in advance if you want to attend, try to give them as much notice as possible. And with this event, they've also indicated that you don't have to be a client of Accessible, so if you know somebody who wants to use Accessible to come to the town hall, but they're not a client right now, they will still be able to access Accessible for this event. And then for ASL interpretation, I've already put up the requests for booking ASL. I'm hoping to hear back from them later this week, so everything looks like a go there. So those are my updates, Annie.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Melissa.
And Liz is just saying, I seem to have missed some stuff just because things were popping up. So on Zoom, but I'm not sure what I missed. I'm seeing something in front of me right now.
Okay.
And it's gone now.
Okay. Well, we can follow up. Most of the things that were just covered just for Liz's information are within the confines of the memo as well. So that was distributed on Friday morning. Wonderful.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And Liz is saying it's important for everybody. And it's really important when we do go into the hiring of interpreters that they are qualified signers and that they understand that. And there's been some comments coming from the community that they would like to have 2 deaf interpreters, which you probably see, on Dr. Strang's videos there, you see that, but I'm not sure if it's possible for us to hire 2 deaf interpreters for this event. And also 2 hearing interpreters as well. So we want to make sure that they are, as long as, if there are sufficient signers and things are great, then that's good. But there's been talk about having the need for 2 deaf interpreters as well. But we can discuss this later on.
Annie, do you want me to take that question?
Yeah, sure. If Chair, as long as you're good there, I think for the most part too, we have covered the content of the memo. So yeah.
And we can discuss that later. We can discuss that maybe after the Zoom meeting, that type of thing.
Excuse me. I think it's an important point that Liz brought up, that we have the tools that we need to get as many people informed as possible. So, if that is deaf interpreters, great, but also hearing interpreters. So whatever we can get for that night, it's quite important. So, shall I go around for questions? Annie, are we to that point yet?
Yes, no, I think the one last piece that I just wanted to mention that I think will kind of, become a part of the next agenda item as well is that Melissa had also reached out to the Canadian National Institute for the Blind regarding sighted guide training and acquiring some materials so that the committee members would have access to those materials should folks be interested in taking on that role at the actual town hall event. But we can maybe break down those, gauging some interest on taking on some of those roles during the next agenda item. But I'm certainly happy to take any questions or comments from members of the committee on the memo.
Okay, I'm going to start with Jackie because she's been waiting for.
Yeah, I have a question about that Liz is saying.
Okay. Jackie, would you mind if I take Liz's question first?
Go ahead, please.
Okay. Liz, you have the floor.
It's just a short question. I wasn't planning on going to the town hall meeting on the 10th, just because I'll be there on Zoom, but I just won't be able to be there in person. Just because things have come up. So if I want to say something, let's say, how do I go about saying something on Zoom? Or like if I have a question, if someone could explain that, that'd be great. Like, because I'm thinking there might be, like 100 or so people on the Zoom call.
Annie, I think that is up to
Yes,
you or Melissa to answer.
for sure. So this is the logistics of this are being sorted with the live streaming vendor right now. But the way that we have been planning for it to work is for there to be the use of a question and answer extension within Zoom, and we would provide instructions to folks for how to engage with that tool on the front end. And it's basically just you click on it, and then you would type into it your question, and then there would be a staff member responsible for facilitating that process and passing those questions along, either to the chair of the event, or we could have a dedicated staff member asking them from the floor. But this is also how, so all of the questions that are coming in Zoom are going to be mitigated through the question and answer box is how we're planning for it now. There, can certainly be.
Okay, that's good. No problem with that whatsoever. The sort of the chat function and the texting there. But what about for deaf individuals who want to sign their questions? How do you foresee that sort of happening? How will that work?
So I'm not sure if folks who have been at events previously from the staff's perspective might be able to provide some perspective here.
Through you to the chair, if I may.
Yes.
Thank you. Elizabeth, I think if I'm not mistaken, how it will work is that if somebody has a question, if it can't go into the chat, there's the option of asking someone to turn on their camera. And the people who are facilitating it can ensure that camera turns on. They could sign their question. It could be translated and answered and signed back. We still have to work out all of the logistics of how that might work. We haven't got it all sorted out yet, but we'll take that question and ask our service provider how they can support that.
Excellent. Excellent. Liz, does that address your concern?
Yep, that does. It sounds good.
Okay. Am I okay to move on to Jackie now?
Okay,
Okay, Jackie.
all right.
You have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you to Annie. The reason I had my hand up before, because I got to go way back to the start, Annie. When you're talking about invitations, it's wonderful. But as I'm sitting here and thinking of my background a bit, I'm wondering if it might be advantageous to send some invitations in particular to the Provincial Department of Transportation, the Provincial Department of Community Services, which would include disability supports, income assistance, and child welfare. Along with that, the provincial level of health and wellness. I'm thinking these folks see individual clients and such, but it might be a very good opportunity to provide some education and also kind of showcase what the HRM has been doing in terms of accessibility. Just a thought, and I throw that out. The second thing, Chair, just with regards to chairing the town hall, wondering if that is going to be done, and you may not have worked at these logistics yet, in person, or will it be done virtually?
I had planned to be there in person, but if it looks like I can't be there, and I won't know this till like the day of possibly, we can certainly do it virtually, as far as I'm
Okay.
concerned.
I guess what I was thinking of was we had discussed previous around particular members, committee members, maybe being available in the remote areas.
Okay,
And for me, I'm
Yeah.
very, very close to Musquodoboit Harbor. So I offered that,
yeah,
but I can be wherever it's appropriate. So those were the two things, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
from my perspective, I think going to Musquodoboit Harbor, if you have to, if you have to, if I'm ill, would be better than not having you at all. So being in Musquodoboit Harbor,
No, I could go to Halifax. I'm a very fortunate person. I have transportation and I'm very appreciative of that. So it's not that, it's just more where folks should be. But again, it may be something that discuss more in detail later on.
yeah, I
Thank you.
think we have community member roles on our next agenda issue, so maybe we can tease that up then.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Rochelle, do you have anything to address this?
Chair,
Uh,
my apologies here. I just saw that there were a couple of hands up from staff regarding,
Okay.
I believe, some of Jackie's questions. And I believe the first hand that was up was Tracy and Mr. Chair.
Okay, Tracy?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, to the member. Jackie, I guess my question for you would be, would we be asking the province to speak or just come to observe? So just to come to observe. So, that's easy enough. I'm sure the Accessibility Directorate folks would be there. They've been there in the past.
Yes.
So, but we could, if it's the will of the committee, do a special invite. I know we've started to engage with them in the municipality a whole lot more, and just tell them that it's happening, and we'd be glad if they showed up. So if we're not asking them to speak, yeah, that would be great.
Absolutely. It wasn't about speaking, but I think we need to be strategic because most people very quickly will think of disability support services. It's not just that particular. You've got continuing care, you've got income assistance, and child welfare, especially for family and children services. They're all under community services, but I think there might need to be some identification of who might be appropriate.
So some of those departments aren't issues that the municipality has any sort of impact or relationship on. And so for us with the town hall, the focus will be for us to report back on what we've done in the municipality.
Yes.
So sorry, Ms. Jackie.
No, I guess when I think of my history there in the past, because I was always nosy, when anything would come in as an invitation to the department, disability supports, mine was the first hand up, I'll go. And that's how I kind of got to be involved with many things. It is good information, and more I sit and hear governments at the municipal, provincial, and federal level. Oh, I don't know anything about that. So this, from my perspective, was more for educating them. And as I use the word showcase, to let them know that the HRM is doing things. These wouldn't necessarily be people at the top coming, because usually they'll ask staff, it's during the week, after hours, and you will get people interested. Continuing care works with a lot of folks in the community. And I know they hear from individual clients, but somebody at that level, even at that management, it would be good to let them know what's going on in the HRM and how serious it's been taken and worked on in the last number of years. So it was nothing about reporting back to them, asking them to take the floor. It was strictly as them coming to listen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else to be addressed on those questions?
Yes, Chair, I just wanted to, if I may, come back to the piece around chairing the meeting.
Okay.
From the conversation that I've had with the live streaming company, there are kind of different mechanisms that would be required for if folks are attempting to present virtually rather than being in the space. And the reason why there has been significant amount of time and effort into planning the physical aspect of the Paula Regan Hall would be for the chair and the folks presenting to be physically at that location. So just to provide a bit more clarity around that would be that particularly for the person chairing the town hall, as well as staff who are speaking to items and answering questions, that those folks would be at Paula Regan Hall.
There we go, Jackie. There's that issue taken care of. We'll see you in Halifax. So hopefully not, because I hope to be well, but we'll see. Okay. Rochelle, do you have anything to weigh on with this?
Yeah, and this might be a silly question, but I missed the last two meetings. I had to send regrets. What time is the town hall at?
Andy, you can take this one.
Yes, I sure can, Chair. So the event is going to be taking place from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. That will be, the physical location in Paula Regan Hall with our live streaming kind of locations, and then folks will also be able to watch from YouTube. So yeah, 6:30 to 8:30 is the window that we're working with that day.
Okay, and it's on November 10th, correct? Okay, awesome. I was looking through the minutes. I saw November 10th. I could not find the actual time for it. I'm sure it's there. There's a lot of things to read. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Russell, do you have anything to add to our discussions?
I do not at this point. It looks like you've covered everything.
Okay, Councillor Gammon, do you have anything?
I do have a few quick questions, if that's okay. One is, I was just wondering if we could have the name of the live streaming vendor that was chosen. So that's probably an easy one. And then the other question is, so far we have 4 business units that agreed to present. If they took all 10 minutes each, then that's 40 minutes. And one of the ones, and it might be under the Transportation and Public Works, but I think of the last time when we were talking, and recently we had a great presentation around the Cogswell development, and there's a certain features of that development that there's celebrating around accessibility. So, is there any way that we can do a direct reach out to that group to make sure that they're going to present or to give some information to us? Because I think that has a lot to do with our future and how the downtown, that section of the downtown is going to be more accessible. So I do think that people will be very, very interested in that.
Annie, I believe you would be the best person to address that too.
Sure thing. Thank you, Chair, and through you to the councillor. The vendor that we are working with is Atlantic Live Streaming. Sorry, my cat is at my door. One moment, please. So yes, the live streaming vendor that we were working with is Atlantic Live Streaming, and this vendor has been worked with for several events, not only through the municipality but also through the libraries as well. So this is this kind of event is like a well-oiled machine for them. So there are certainly a lot of pieces that they're providing answers for us on, maybe before we even knew we had to ask. So, and then in relation to the Coxville development question, so invitations were sent out to multiple people and projects within the municipality. This is one that we had reached out to. My understanding here is that the team that is working on this project is it's a small team for a quite massive project that's being undertaken at the moment.
I think it's just 2 people.
Yeah, so my understanding is that they're likely to be spread a bit thin at the moment. But if this is certainly something that I would be willing to follow up with this group on, to see if they can't come to the town hall, that they could be approached for a presentation to this committee specifically after the fact. So not necessarily the widest audience possible, but does provide the opportunity for the committee to engage a little bit more directly with the project.
Well, actually, that went to my final question, which was extending an invitation to see if they would come and present to the committee, because I do think that it's going to be really important. And any kind of little massaging that we can do to see if we can get them to even come and introduce it at the town hall, I think it would be awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Nicole, do you have any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Okay, and Samantha? Do you go by Samantha or Sam?
Sam's good, and I have nothing to add.
Okay, great. Committee member roles at the town hall. Annie and or Melissa, do you want to give us that information?
So thank you, Chair. I can start on this one for sure. So after the last meeting, we were discussing, the role of, having sighted guides available at the locations for the town hall. So Melissa reached out to CNIB so that we could have some, training materials to be able to pass along to the committee members. Should some of the committee members have an interest in taking on the sighted guide role, this is certainly a role that would be great, I think, for committee members to take on if they are interested and feel comfortable doing so. Really, the training for this would simply be, there's a video provided and there's actual documentation that was included as information items on this on the agenda for this month's meeting. So if, but certainly during the conversation, if this is a role that you would like to take on for the event, please, you can speak it here now, and Melissa and I will work with you between now and the town hall to ensure that you have the information that you need to be able to do that. Additionally, there are some other roles that the committee members could take on around, the kind of, checking proof of vaccination at the door of the event. We have staff that are going to be taking on these roles at the live streaming kind of locations at Tantallon and Musquodoboit Harbor, respectively. And the library has also agreed to provide us some support on, making sure that people are getting in the door so that we can start the event on time and keep things moving in an efficient manner. But that is certainly like a role that committee members could take on. And then there could also be, be a role for folks. We recognize that maybe not every person at the event would be willing to, go up to a mic or have their question asked, on the floor. But we want to ensure that if there's a question that folks want to be answered that is either particular to the to the presentations that are taking place, or to, you know, the functioning of accessibility measures within the municipality at large, that we are able to facilitate that, and that if that isn't answered at the town hall, that we are able to get people to be followed up with after the fact. So we are envisioning of, you know, having maybe a table over on the side, close to the door, that would allow people to, you know, write down questions if they have them, that could either be asked on the floor by a staff member or by a committee member at the event, or, you know, have it be followed up by email after the fact. So there are kind of, you know, a few different roles that we were hoping maybe some committee members might be interested in taking on for folks who are going to be at the physical location of Paulo Regan Hall. So yeah, just wanted to gauge some interest, and just, you know, say that Melissa and I are you know, taking, we'll certainly be working with the committee members to provide them the support that folks need to take on any of these roles. And we'll be having conversations not only with business unit speakers who are going to be taking, you know, making presentations at the event, but also having conversations with staff who are going to be providing, you know, different levels of support as well. So there will be, you know, conversations to come about, you know, what is specifically expected of folks the day of, so that, you know, it doesn't all have to be hashed out now, but if there are committee members that have interest, we would really appreciate knowing that, and Melissa and I will be in touch.
Is there anything Melissa would like to add, or you, people? Or
I'm sorry,
she-
could you repeat that?
Melissa, are you able, or have you covered everything there is to cover with that? Just want to be sure we have all the info.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. Annie did a good job. I think the main thing we're looking from the committee tonight is to have an idea of anybody who might be interested in taking on any of these roles that Annie kind of went over.
Now, let's start our conversation with Councillor Russell. Do you have anything to add or comment on?
I'd be interested in helping out as I could through the meeting, being a guide or whatnot.
Excellent, thank you for that. Councillor Gammon, do you have anything to add to this discussion?
I was just typing in the chat, but now you've saved me, Mr. Chair. I was just I'll be attending, and I'll do any job you deem me capable of.
That would be quite a long list. See both. Thank you. Okay, Elizabeth, do you have anything you'd like to bring to our attention?
No, I'm fine. Just what I made comments on the interpreting issue piece. That's it. But we can talk more about that later.
Okay.
Great, thanks.
Nicole, do you have anything to
You're
add?
doing a great job.
Thank you. Nicole,
No, I don't have anything to add.
great. Okay, Jackie,
I just wanted to offer up my services again. I realize I'm a backup for you, Mr. Chair, but from the sighted guide perspective, I think that's a very important role. And again, as I'd mentioned before, if you go on CNIB website, there's the small video there as well. And it's very good actually, because it lets you know, what do I do here? What do I do there? So you can put me down for whatever, but again, that's second to the backup for the chair. Thank you.
thank you. Like I say, I do plan to be there, but we all know by now that life throws you screwballs sometimes. Rochelle, do you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, now that I've confirmed the time, I unfortunately am not able to be at the town hall. I took a quick read of the information that CNIB gave out, and I was just noticing that it seems, at least in the diagrams, and I haven't watched the video, so I can't speak to that, that it seems like there's sort of an expectation that sighted guides will be able-bodied, just based on the photos, and that was sort of, there's something there. I don't know. Yeah, so I was just noticing that, and in reading that was like, well, how would I do that in like sort of the whatever capacity I'm in physically at that time? Although it's sort of, you know, not a necessary point for me specifically at this point, but I was just wondering about that, and if there was other resources out there, like for anyone who might want to be like a sighted guide but maybe isn't able-bodied. You know, we are the accessibility committee.
Okay. Is there anybody that wants to address that, maybe? Okay. Then I will move the discussion on to Samantha. Do you have anything to add or to our conversation about the town hall?
Me, Samantha? No, I do not.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Now we move on to, close to my,
Mr. Chair.
yes, Annie, thank you.
So I believe we missed Leslie on our list there, and also I see that we have a staff member's hand up as well.
Yes, I'm sorry I missed you, Leslie. Do you have anything you want to add?
That is quite all right, Mr. Chair. No, I don't. Thank you.
All right, great. And yes, our question in to the staff, who do we have that has a question?
Hey, Mr. Chair, it's Darren Young.
Excellent.
My question was around, you're talking about roles and responsibility. In the past, we've had an MC for the fair ceremony. It's usually been one of the counselors that are on the committee. And I don't know if we've had that conversation yet or if anybody talked about that. But typically, you have one of the two counselors run as the master of ceremony. So I don't know if that's been discussed yet or not.
Well, there's no better time. Councillor Russell or Gammon?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I think the conversation that we had previously had around your role as the chair and as the moderator for the event is kind of, I believe, the definition that the staff member is looking for here. That's the conversation that that we had with the chair, is to fulfill that role.
Okay, no, I must have missed that. I apologize. So good to know. I just want to make sure we have a master of ceremonies for the evening. So moderator, whatever word we want to use. Perfect. Thank you.
That would be me. Okay. Do we have anything more? No, my computer was flashing at me, so must be something else. All right. So now we are on to that's that. Am I right in saying we're on to committee member roles? So we've already covered that. Is that all that there is to it, Annie? I'm trying to catch up.
Yes, thank you, Chair. No, so the purpose of that conversation really was to make sure that the committee was engaged in taking on roles for the town hall. So I have a list here of folks who have said that they would like to take on roles, whether regardless of kind of what that looks like. And I perhaps to Rochelle's comment previously regarding the requirement for sighted guides to be able-bodied, or at least seeing that within the training material. I don't have, unfortunately, much information to provide on that, but what I can say is that if there is a role that if somebody wants to take on from the committee a kind of, a role within the town hall itself, we will absolutely be able to find everybody something to do to be able to help support the event, because at the end of the day, this is the committee's town hall. So if there are roles that folks would like to take on the day of, please let me know, and we will absolutely find something for you.
Okay, staff update. Do we have any updates from staff?
Mr. Chair, I see that we Darren's hand is up.
Okay.
Just trying to get the video. There it goes. Trying to get my video on. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, I have one update. We've put out what we call a call for roster for accessibility audits, and we're looking for accessibility professionals, people that have done the Rick Hansen Foundation training. So if people could put that out to their network, we have what's called an open call on the tender site. It's I'll put it in the chat. It's 21402 if people are looking up for details. And we're just looking to create a list of professionals that can go out and do accessibility audits and get our buildings evaluated, so we know what we need to do to get forward for meeting the accessibility by 2030 objective. So I know there's quite a number of people now in HRM that have received the Rick Hansen Foundation accessibility certification. And we're looking to build a roster that we can hire from to go out and do audits at different levels, different size buildings. So if people could put that out to their network to look up that number, I just put it in the post there, 21-402, and there's the process of what you need to do to get on the call, and then we'll get people started doing audits.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Darren.
May I ask a question, Mr.
Counselor,
Chair?
yeah, that's good.
Certainly.
Darren, can you contribute to the minutes, maybe a bit of information that we can put together as a post to share out?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I could grab something from the tender package and send it out through Annie to the group.
Yeah, just if you can simplify it, sometimes those tenders can be kind of interesting. So if you can give us a Coles Note version that we can share with our networks, then they can go and find the more detail. But if you can just give us a high level review, that would be helpful, I think, for people.
Perfect. I'll put something together and get it through Annie out to the group. Thank you.
Oh, much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Are there any other staff members that want to contribute something? Hearing none. I'll do committee members. I'm seeing none. Is that still true, Annie?
Yes, it is, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Excellent. No added items. So our next meeting is November the 15th. This is the Monday immediately following our town hall, and that November 11th is a holiday. So we will not be distributing the agenda until Friday the 12th. Is that so true, Annie?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, absolutely. That we'll have a quick turnaround time between the town hall and our meeting on Monday. But certainly the meeting is still set to happen on the 15th, unless something changes and the committee decides otherwise. So thank you.
Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
This is Rochelle. I'll motion to adjourn.
Thank you,
I have
Michelle.
I have a question first before
Okay,
we
Liz?
just something I want to share with everybody here.
Yep.
Before November 10th, no, before November 8th. I'm sure things will, if anything pops up before that. So if something pops up if something happens, we want to have a discussion before the actual town hall, can we, like, how are we going to go about having those discussions?
Annie, is there a protocol for that or a way we can do that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there, I guess it would, there would be a couple of different answers to that question. So I'm trying to kind of narrow it down here. In terms of, the happenings of the town hall, and I will certainly be sending out email.
Yeah, for me, I'm just thinking, like, if anything were to like just sort of happen last minute that a discussion needs to be had, how would we go about having those discussions before the town hall?
So there is the ability for a special meeting to be called, and normally what would happen here would be that the meeting would be asked to be called by a particular number of members of the committee, and the chair would need to consent to a special meeting being called. And the meeting would be held specifically on the topic for the reason that the meeting was asked to be scheduled. So I can definitely, send along the information within Administrative Order 1 if that is something.
And I guess I'm just trying to figure out, like, specifically, like, if it's about the town hall or something in there, like if it could be just a half an hour or something, or can it be done over email as well?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, absolutely I will be sending information out about, the final logistics of the town hall by email. And if there is, if folks have questions or concerns that they would like to address, please get in touch with me. And if there is a desire for a special meeting to be held, I will.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
This is certainly not the last time we're going to be in touch before the town hall. I will make sure that the folks are kept in the loop.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, now I will hear Rochelle's call for the end.
And then I suggest now that we adjourn the meeting. I move to.
Thank you both. And thank you everyone for the meeting today. Appreciate it.